Do you want me to teach you how to make a super duper duper easy bunny wine tumbler? Well, if you want to learn, keep watching and I'll teach you how to make this with a little bushy tail. Eee! We're going to start off by sanding marley. I want to remove that protective finish over the stainless steel so that I can get the clay to really adhere. Look at, she's trying to steal the show. Marley, I know what you're doing. Anyway, so what I did was I sanded and scuffed up my little wine tumbler as best as I could. And then I cleaned up my area. I got some parchment paper, a little rolly thingy from Amazon, and I got the air dry clay. I will link all of this in the description. You can get all of it on Amazon. I believe most of the stuff you can get at Hobby Lobby. Most of the stuff you can get at Hobby Lobby. Well, what I'm doing right now is I am just rolling the clay flat like my booty. Also too, this is how my mom used to make me help her roll tortillas when I was younger. And you know, she always made me, like, she was like, hey, if you don't know how to roll tortillas, you're never gonna be able to get married. I don't roll tortillas and I'm still married, Mom. Anyway, so I rolled tortillas when I was younger, because look at that. Look at those rolling skills. Anyway, I want to get the clay to lay flat, but not too flat because I don't want it to crack. Not me trying to sound like I'm a clay expert, barely know what I'm doing. I shouldn't even be teaching you, but anyway. So I'm taking an X-Acto knife and I am freehanding the circles or the little ovals for the little tiny footsies. However, if you are one of those people who likes to have perfectly symmetrical, perfectly shaped things, you can use cookie cutters, or you can cut out a stencil, like a cardboard stencil, and just trace around the little oval that you cut out of cardstock or whatever. Did I say cardboard? I meant cardstock. I eyeball everything. I'm even like that when it comes to like cooking. I'm like, my mom said a pinch of salt, so But you know, if you do want to be more precise, you can go ahead and just cut out the ovals out of, you know, cardstock paper and cut your clay that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little piece of clay and I am going to press it onto the tumbler as much as I can, because I want to adhere my little footsie onto that little piece of clay. I'm only going to be able to push the little foot with so much pressure because I don't want to completely for it to lose its shape or make it super duper flat. And so I adhered that bottom piece of clay to the cup, and then I'm adhering this little top footsie to the little piece of clay. I found that this worked really good for me. It just really made, you know, that little foot stick a little bit better. And what I'm doing here is I am taking a little bit of water on my booger hook and I am just smoothing out the edges. Also too, what I'm doing is I'm kind of taking like my fingertip and my fingernail on the sides of the little footsie, and I'm kind of just going like this to get this part of the foot to kind of blend in with the tumbler as much as possible. I'm trying to get the feet to like really adhere to the tumbler so that they don't break off, so that they don't crack, so that we don't have any issues later on, because look, we don't want anything to happen to Marley. Look at her little tail. It's so bushy. How can you be so emotionally attached to a tumbler? It's because look at the face. Okay. So basically, I repeated the process for the second little footsie. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm done. I repeated the process for the second little foot. If you can see, there's no gaps in between the clay and the stainless steel. It is perfectly adhered. I made sure that I rubbed it in as best as I could. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little ball for the little bushy tail. And I'm going to do the same process on the little bushy tail. I'm going to take a little piece of clay and I am going to adhere it to the tumbler and like press it and get it on there as good as I can, because, oh, I got to scratch my nose. I know that looks like I was picking my nose, but I wasn't. So basically with this little piece of clay that I'm putting on the tumbler, it allows me to press it down as hard as I want and really get it to stick to the cup, so that when I bring my little bushy tail, I don't have to press it down so hard to get it to stick to the cup and make it lay flat. I don't know if any of this is making sense. I'm also not a clay expert. I've been doing a lot of research and I am learning. And I am excited to continue to expand my skills and be able to teach you guys even more. I used to not care for 3D tumblers before, but now I just think they're the cutest little thing. And this is such a basic little tumbler. I mean, it's so simple. It's so cute. Oh, Marley, don't ever leave me. Now I want to make a whole collection of bunnies because she's lonely. Anyway, so right here, I'm, kind of smoothing out Marley. Let's turn her around so you can see her little bushy bunny tail. Oh my goodness. So here I am just smoothing it. Oh, I'm smoothing the little booty. I'm smoothing the little bushy tail so that it could adhere. That looks like a pimple or like a nose for a gnome. Anyway, I was just making sure that it was super smooth and super adhered to the tumbler. And then I took like this is a dotting tool, but you could really use anything that you have handy, like an X-Acto knife or a weeding tool. And basically what I was doing was I was just like pulling pieces of the clay to kind of make it look like a bushy tail, like little hair. Look, oh my gosh, so cute. And then I put this aside to dry overnight. This air dry clay, you want to leave it overnight. It was pretty warm in the garage and it dried kind of fast, but just to be safe, I let it sit overnight. But you do have the option of using polymer clay, which you can bake in the oven. I have yet to try that, but that's one of my next things that we're gonna try. So to get our topper started, what I did first was, of course, you saw me sand the lid just to scuff it up and make sure that that resin really adheres to it. I removed the little sliding lid for the mouthpiece. And that green tape that you see right there is called resin tape. Or I believe epoxy tape. You can get it on Amazon. They have it at Hobby Lobby. And basically it's tape that epoxy doesn't stick to. So anytime that you're doing any sort of resin art, that's the tape that you want to be using for your projects. And what I'm doing here is I am just filling this little hole that we just removed the sliding mouthpiece from. I'm filling it with UV resin, getting it nice and sealed because I want my topper to be solid so that when I wash this and I get it wet and I have to scrub it in between the carrots, I'm not gonna get water underneath there and it's not gonna get stuck in those little nooks and crevices and corners and all of that, and you're not gonna get mold. So I super duper triple mega sealed it so you can wash it. It's gonna be durable and it's so cute. Okay, sorry. So what you saw me doing there before, I'm sorry that I was moving so fast while I was getting those, UV resin with the acrylic paint ready. But I was mixing those paints up to make my carrots out of my carrot mold. I didn't want to make this tutorial super duper long, so I'm not going to explain that because all you do is add a little bit of coloring to your UV resin, put the resin in your mold and cure it under the light. That's how I made the carrots. And I will link the little mold. It's super simple. But what I did is I took chalk paint and I painted my entire tumbler white. And then after I had a nice white coat over my tumbler, I took some Mod Podge and I added glitter. I made sure to avoid the bushy tail and the little footsies just because I didn't want them to be glittery. I just didn't want them to. So I was careful to do that. And obviously you guys saw me cutting the little ears off of that little wooden bunny. I got that wooden bunny at Hobby Lobby, and I just thought that these little wooden ears would be a little bit more durable than maybe like a skinny piece of clay standing straight up. So that is why I decided to go with these little pieces instead. And so to epoxy over the bushy tail, but to not have puddles of epoxy to where you lose the shape and that bushiness, you want to take a really fine skinny paintbrush and actually just paint on your epoxy. This is going to allow you to not create puddles of, epoxy. It's going to keep its little bushy shape. And here we are, while our cup is spinning, we are going to continue to work on the lid. Now, as you guys know, we've already put a few coats of UV resin over our, lid just to get a good seal so that it can be washed, it can get wet and be durable. I am working very carefully around the mouthpiece. I have a little piece of epoxy tape over where, the drink or you put your straw, and I'm kind of tilting the lid so that I don't get that, UV resin over the little lip part. And so once I get my little base of green over, because we're laying down our grass, I took my little bunny ears, which were just the pieces of wood. I painted them white and I covered them both with a coat of UV resin to protect that chalk paint. And oops, are you okay, Marley? She's okay. Oh, does. Okay, so I put UV resin on the little ears just to make sure that, they were protected and shiny and glossy. Look at her. Oh, Marley. Okay. And I actually just used an acrylic marker to paint on the little pink parts of the ear. I hate Cricut. So if I can avoid using the Cricut machine, I will. And so I was excited to freehand this. But if you want to get, everything perfect, which look, Marley's still perfect. Oh, okay. Then you can just go to Etsy and they have the files with the little earpieces and stuff. I am going to link the one in the description where I got this cute little face. But they have they have an abundance. So if you want to have a little bit more creative freedom, you can head on over to Etsy and just type in Bunny SVG and you will find stuff with glasses. I mean, so many things. So yeah, that's basically what I did. I just drew on the little earpieces with my acrylic marker. And then I came in and added a little bit more UV resin with the green coloring in it because I went ahead and added my little carrots. Oh my gosh, it's so freaking cute. Like, look at that. That's just, this is such a cute cup. This is probably my favorite cup I've ever made. And now you see me weeding the little face. Now, I do want to tell you guys that I did brush on regular epoxy over the entire lid to cover the little carrots, which had, alcohol. There was a little bit of alcohol ink in the resin. So if you guys want to know how I got the orange and the green, it was just with alcohol ink. I did 2 drops of white in each little medicine cup. I did a drop of 2 drops of orange and 2 drops of green in the separate cups. Anytime that you want to get that strong, vibrant color, you always want to add a little drop of white, and that's going to create a really nice foundation for your color. And that's how you're going to get these bright colors. And I did the same thing for the little fuchsies. I just drew them. I just freehanded them, and they're not perfect, but I love them. And I think that, look at her. Look at you. You're a star. You're a star. You're a star, Marley. I do want to let you guys know that this is mine and Bad Bunny's baby. I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh. I'm just kidding. So here you see me doing the final coat of epoxy on Marley, and I'm just making sure that I have really good coverage. I'm also epoxying another cup next to it. So don't let that distract you. But yeah, I did the same thing again. I did just use my fat sausage finger to do the entire cup. And then I used a fine paintbrush to get all the little nooks and areas, covered with epoxy, just to create a really good seal over the tumbler. And then I am doing one little coat of epoxy UV resin over, I'm doing one little coat of UV resin over the little earpieces, just to create a little bit more of that just protection and coverage, and just giving it just one more like little cover up. But I did go back with 5 mLs of regular epoxy, and I coated the entire thing, and that was it. I just let it sit overnight. Marley, we got cut off. So I just sealed it with UV resin, and then for the final coat over the topper, I used regular epoxy and I just brushed it on, and then I set her aside overnight while she was spinning and while this was curing. And so she is UV resistant. She is completely sealed, completely covered. I mean, these little feet are not going anywhere. Neither is the bushy little tail, like it is on there. Look at the ears. I mean, they're on there. And so, yeah, this is my little friend Marley. So I hope that you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope I didn't talk too fast. I hope it wasn't too confusing. And let me know if you want to see us make any more little animals. Dito, que pechocho. Say bye, Marley. Marley, you say the besitos. Besitos.